Good evening and welcome to everyone this evening. You're listening to Love 101 FM and you may be on your radio in your car, or you may be on Facebook, or you could be on YouTube Live. You are joining us this evening for Family Time. And Family Time is about your issues and your relationships. It's about your at-home family, your community family, and your global family. Family Time is produced by Family Life Ministries, and our aim is to enable healthy families, which will lead to healthy nations. So stay with us, and please connect with us via all our platforms. You can friend us on Facebook at FLM-Family Life Ministries, or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Family Life Ministries FLMJA, and on Instagram you can keep up with what's happening, and that is simply FLMJA. While Family Time is a family program, we'd like to caution that it may on the odd occasion touch on what some may consider mature subject matters. Your discretion is advised. All right? My name is Roland Gale, and I'm going to be here with you this evening. Now, in 1974, he resigned as acting deputy clerk of courts to study theology. And then, 51 years later, with an honorary doctorate and different stints in his field of study, Reverend Clinton Chisholm is now a personality in Christendom, at least to us. Some of you will remember him as a controversial Baptist preacher. He's also an author, a tutor, a media personality, a husband, and so much more. Join me while I find out about this man and share some things that we may not already know. Meanwhile, we are going to ask you to tell us something about a memorable interaction you've had with Reverend Chisholm. Tell us that. Tell us about your memorable interaction with Reverend Chisholm. Did I say that word right? Memorable? Memorable. Memorable. Right. I think I said it right that last time. Memorable. Send your answers via WhatsApp text and WhatsApp voice notes, and the number is 997-3125. And try to keep your voice notes no longer than 30 seconds, all right? You can also call our studio lines, and it's 968-8327, 968-8328. You can watch us and comment live on Love 101 FM Facebook and on Love 101 FM YouTube. This is a conversation about faith, about family, and how we live out our beliefs with love. We'll be right back. Want you to stay and fellowship with us. We have our special guest tonight, Reverend Clinton Chisholm. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up on the next Campus Connection. Can you believe it's our final show for this season? Time definitely flies when you're having fun. Join us as we close out the school term and leap into the Christmas break with great joy. We will be reflecting on the season's journey and spending time with resilient guests from Western Jamaica. Mrs. Eileen Kohal Bailey, Master Teacher and JHEA Research Chair. Miss Zaisha Walker, Students' Council President at the Manning School. And Miss Deja Bremer, Head Girl at the Manning's School, as they share about supporting each other and working towards a brighter future. Campus Connection is proudly brought to you by Live Good Anti-Violence Campaign from the Ministry of National Security and Peace. Tune in on Tuesday, December 16 at 5:30 p.m. on Love 101, the family station.
Tuesday, December 16 on The Rock, we dive into one of Christianity's most sacred and debated mysteries, the virgin birth. Was it a literal miracle, a powerful metaphor, or a story misunderstood over time? To find out, join guests Michael Diamond and evangelist Hurley Taylor as they explore prophecy, language, early church interpretations, and the lasting theological impact of this profound event. That's The Rock, Tuesday, December 16 at 10 a.m. here on the family station, Love 101.
I am a man, yes. Strong man.
On the next mailbox, we focus on beating the odds. Beating the odds means succeeding at something despite having a very low chance of success, overcoming significant difficulties or challenges that made victory seem unlikely. It implies perseverance, determination, and achieving an improbable outcome, often when most people expected failure. It is our final show for 2025, and you are invited to join the conversation with our special guest, Mr. Mark Bolton, who will share his journey from being a janitor at Church Teachers College to mathematics teacher at Newell High School in St. Elizabeth. Tune in as we close out this year, celebrating Mark's triumph in the education arena on Wednesday, December 17 at 5:30 p.m. on the family station. Love 101, the mailbox, Monday.
Yes, strong man, integrity man. I am a man.
Hey, man.
Are you ready for the Love Restores concert happening Saturday, December 20 at Emancipation Park? Love 101 presents a benefit concert. Yep, the Love Restores concert at 5 p.m. for a time of worship and praise. Featuring Lubert Levy, Petra Kay, Chris Malachi, Rhoda Isabella, Ryan Davis, Perpetual Sounds of Praise, Audia Spencer Brown, Minister Y Positive Campbell, dances by White Cat's Soul of Dance, Genesis Praise Squad, and Jai Kingston. You're invited to take non-perishable food items or donations in cash, and we'll put it all together for our trip to the West. Don't miss Season Splendor, Saturday, December 20, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We'll have lots of booths with many items on sale, and you can do your Christmas shopping. Then stay with us for the Love Restores concert at Emancipation Park, Saturday, December 20, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Admission is free. Love Restores, presented by Love 101 in association with Friends and Crosslinks. Don't you miss it.
When we
Come. Emmanuel, Light of the World. The Waltham Park New Testament Church of God Mass Choir, in association with the New Testament Church of God National Music Unit, presents Christmas Recital 2025 on Sunday, December 21st at 6:30 p.m. at 65 Waltham Park Road. It will be an evening of inspiration and reflection on the hope that the coming of our Savior brings. You'll be taken on a musical feast as we celebrate Emmanuel, Light of the World, with special guest, the Hallel Festival Choir, and speaker, Administrative Bishop of the New Testament Church of God, Bishop Dr. Roy Notice. Join us for our 2025 Christmas Recital, Sunday, December 21st, 6:30 p.m., 65 Waltham Park Road. Admission is free. Take a special offering for our Hurricane Melissa Relief Fund.
Emmanuel,
We worship you.
we worship you. You're tuned to Family Radio Love 101 FM. We do apologize for the break in transmission of our Family Time program on account of unforeseen technical difficulties. We crave your indulgence while we try to sort that out. And in the interim, we will bring you a spot of music. Please stay tuned.
Welcome back to Family Time, and we apologize for that short break due to technical difficulties. Welcome to our very special guest, Reverend Clinton Chisholm. How are you, sir?
And you?
How are you, sir?
I'm keeping well. Are you hearing me?
I am hearing you now. Yes, I am hearing you, sir. I'm glad you are keeping well. Excellent. It's good to hear your voice. And to our listeners and our viewers, remember, we want to hear your answers to this question. Tell us about your memorable interaction with Reverend Chisholm. And you can send WhatsApp text and voice notes to 997-3125. And please keep your voice notes to no longer than 30 seconds. And you can also call our studio lines at 968-8327 and 968-8328. And you can watch us and comment live on Love 101 FM Facebook and on Love 101 FM YouTube. Let's get going. Our topic of discussion as a personality in Christendom is Reverend Clinton Chisholm. And it is so good to talk to him. Let's get to know him a little bit, and we're going to hear it from him. Sir, can you tell us about your life as a young child, a young boy? I don't know what age you want to start at. If you want to start at 2 or 5 or 10, just give us a little bit of your story, please, sir.
Well, I grew up in Montego Bay. We lived in a tenement yard, 45 Barnett Lane. When about the age of 10, I would have been preparing in primary school for the common entrance exam for high school. I indebted to the late Mrs. Olga Nelson, who was my teacher, but I told her my parents were so poor, I could not afford the fee for the classes. And she said, no problem. You have a good brain. I will allow you into the class for free. I've never forgotten her. My father was a stevedore. He would row a boat with bananas to take to the ship that would take the bananas abroad. And my mother took in washing and ironing as a means of income for the family.
Wow, that's amazing, sir. Your dad was a stevedore, you said?
Yes, sir.
And your mom took in washing and so on in order to make a little money?
Right, to make a little money.
Wow. What was it like in your home in terms of their educational background?
Well, there were basic education. I would assume my father could not read. But every Sunday, he would have me read for him his favorite political newspaper type thing. It was called The Voice, JLP newspaper, The Voice. I had to read that for him every Sunday. I remember that.
Oh, that's lovely. That's so good. I am amazed that you are where you are coming from that kind of background.
And it gets worse because Barnett Lane was adjoining another street parallel to it, but formerly called Railway Lane, but pejoratively the people in that, it was called Swine Lane because of the view that they had of people in that area. So I was not always enthusiastic to tell people I grew up, I'm living on Barnett Lane, because they're going to think, all right, that's adjoining Swine Lane. You can't count for much.
Oh my goodness, that sounds like you come from Nazareth, you don't mean anything. You're not
That's right, good. That's right.
Wow. So you had mentioned a little while ago one of your teachers that you can never forget. Remind us of her name?
Mrs. Olga Nelson. She died years ago.
Mrs. Olga Nelson. Would you consider her to be a person who helped to make you who you are today?
No question about that. So without that ability to take do the lessons, the preparatory lessons for common entrance, I don't know what would have happened to Clinton Chisholm.
Oh my goodness. We'll hear some more when we come back from this break. Thank you, sir.
The time by Grace Could Move is
5:48.
Recycling Partners of Jamaica. Yeah, we got to make a change, and we have to do it now, can't wait for later. We put plastic in its place, and we all can agree that will be safer than in the gullies and in the drains. Recycling Partners of Jamaica. We put plastic in its place. Well, I said no matter about your class or status or title, got to be responsible and recycle. Yes, we have to talk about plastic buckle board. You have to make sure say that the right type to. So look for the triangle with the one or two. Well, I don't matter could a yellow or blue. You have to just make sure them empty, collect them plenty. Recycling revenue. So listen up, Jamaica. I'm saying it's time to make a change. Recycling Partners of Jamaica. We put plastic in its place, and we all can agree that will be safer than in the gullies in the every veins. Recycling Partners of Jamaica. We put plastic in its place.
The Urban Development Corporation is pleased to announce that following the passage of Hurricane Melissa, several of our landmark attractions have officially reopened. The world-famous Duns River Falls and Park, Harmony Beach Park, Otrius Bay Beach, and Turtle River Park are once again ready to welcome families, communities, and visitors. In the spirit of national recovery, these spaces stand as symbols of Jamaica's strength, unity, and resilience. UDC remains committed to supporting our people and rebuilding stronger. UDC, building a stronger, more resilient Jamaica together.
We've seen a lot of our customers make some good moves over the years. Whether it's sharing a hug with a friend you haven't seen in a long time or sharing a meal, Grace has been there. So let's keep making these moments together, because rest assured, every time you choose Grace, you know you're making a good move.
Always a good move when you're moving with Grace.
We are talking about the man, Reverend Clinton Chisholm, and I just want to get straight back to him. But before I do that, remember, we want to hear from you, our listeners. Tell us about your memorable interactions with him, Reverend Clinton Chisholm. So, back to you, sir. We were talking about your teacher, and I was asking you, if she was someone who had influenced you, who helped to make you the man you are today, and you said definitely, of course. Can you expound on that a little bit?
Well, I remember that she was a Methodist Christian, to the best of my recollection. I know she was a believer, and therefore felt that this boy was a decent brain may go to waste unless he's allowed to take the classes and prepare himself for common entrance exam, which was crucial in those days for students who want to go to high school.
Absolutely. Can you think of anybody else who would have made a very great impact on your life, sir?
Well, in those early years, we lived about three addresses from a family, the Robinson family. I'm indebted to them to this day. The senior son, Hector Robinson, was phenomenal. I grew up hearing a legend about him, that at Cornwall College High School, he was moved from second form to fifth form, or from third form to fifth form. And in later years, when we became close, because he became my doctor eventually, I asked him about it. He explained it. I don't remember the details, but he said he was definitely promoted from one class to another, having to skip some kind of class or classes. But he was very bright. He retired as a medical doctor recently, I gather, owing to Parkinson's. But he was not only my doctor, but the sister that I follow who died years ago, he was her doctor as well, and the doctor of a good friend, another family, the Angwins, that I grew up with.
Excellent. So he had a huge impact on your life.
Major in terms of the role that education has to play in my life.
Excellent, excellent, sir. And I was looking at some information about you. And I'm not going to say what I found out, but I'm going to ask you, what is one thing people are often surprised to learn about you?
That I am something of a lover of jokes and humor at heart. In fact, Barbados is like my second home. And I was preaching at one of the churches there, pastored by a friend of mine who he and I used to play table tennis when he could find the time from his pastoral charge. And I opened the sermon by saying, ladies and gentlemen, some of you here know me better than most of you. I want to just let you know this from my lips. I am not as serious as I look, and I'm not as sensible as I sound. They didn't know what to do with their face. Those who knew me were like a currently 95-year-old female friend of mine who was a missionary to Jamaica working at CLC. She almost died laughing.
Yes.
Knew that's how I am.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. Before we move off of that, what people would be surprised to learn about you, sir? I just learned, I didn't know this, I learned that you are an accomplished musician.
I've done quite a bit in music, yes, sir. Loved music in the early years, and I did the best I could with what I had.
The best you could with what you had.
Yes,
that sounds very humble. Can you tell us what kind of level you got to in music?
Okay, well, let me start with my first orientation to music, which was at Montego Bay Boys Club, near to where I lived.
Right.
And I learned the saxophone. And at the time, I was being tutored by the leading saxophonist, a Rastafari saxophonist, Barrington Sadler. He taught me tenor sax.
Right.
Then later on in life, I did piano with Clarice Crawford of blessed memory. Then when I left the courts office and went to study theology, I also did classes at the School of Music, and I candidated for the LRSM, the licentiate of the Royal Schools of Music, in solo singing performance. They are performance as opposed to teaching. I did perform.
Yes.
And so I got the LRSM some years ago. I also candidated for the ATCL, which is Associate of Trinity College Licentiates. Royal Schools of Music operated out of London. Trinity College was Dublin, Ireland. But these are external examiners would come and you prepare a mini recital in the case of a solo performance applicant, and you sing for them. They give you a grade, and the report from my LRS may be somewhere in some documents I have in some box somewhere. But those were the levels that I attained. I conducted the Youth for Christ Chorale Montego Bay, and after Maurice Poyle left either Jamaica or the Kingston area, I also conducted the Kingston Youth for Christ Chorale.
So, Rev, what do you like to sing the most? What kind of music?
Semi-classical and popular songs that I like. But the truth is, I was not in love with singing solos.
Oh.
But I play the piano for soloists in Montego Bay Youth for Christ. And if the occasion arose, and it never really did, I don't think I've ever sung anything in my local Faith Temple Assemblies of God church while I was in Montego Bay.
I'm sorry to hear that, because I wanted to just bust you on radio and ask you to sing one of your favorite carols.
I don't think that would be a good idea.
I will take your word for it, sir. I will take your word for it.
Right.
As you talk about stuff you think you're good at, stuff you may not think that you're, ready to do at this point in time, what or who in your life keeps you grounded? What keeps your head on the ground?
Good, close friends and colleagues and pastors, like one of my pastors was Carl Henlin. He's still at Gregory Park, I think. Though I was not very close, icons like Burchell Taylor, Bethel Baptist in Kingston. While I was in Kingston at the seminary and at School of Music, I would pop into Bethel to listen to him. Interestingly, like me, he began his pastoral charge at Porus Baptist Church. Everett Allen, who is also pastoring still, he started at Porus as well.
Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting, sir. Who keeps you grounded? Man, I am speaking with the erudite Reverend Chisholm, and it is good. I have a comment here from Carolyn, and Rev, I want you to hear this. She says, Reverend Chisholm was the first host of the Morning Watch, and he was an excellent host, most knowledgeable and insightful.
Who is that from?
This is from a lady by the name of Carolyn. She doesn't give us her last name.
Okay. Yeah, I can give you a little history of that.
Go ahead, sir.
I came back from, I think it was while I came back from England, I think. And my pastor then, I was out of area, told me that Moya Thomas was trying to track me down. So I said, no, what wrong have I done? Why Moya? I knew the name, never met the lady. Well, I knew the name from media circles, was tracking me down. Eventually, we got to talking on the phone, and she mentioned that she's going to start a program at Love 101 called The Morning Watch, and she wanted me to be the first host on it. I gladly accepted.
Oh, that's lovely. What a way to get into this business. Did you have to sing at all as the host of The Morning Watch?
No, sir. No, just dialogue on issues of the day.
I don't think they delved into your potential and your talent enough. But we're going to go for the break now, sir. And when we come back, we are going to ask if you can sing for us. I'm troubling you, don't worry. We're going to go for a break now. And when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Reverend Clinton Chisholm. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
I'm Itana, and human trafficking is everybody's business. Call 1-888-PROTECT to report suspected cases of child trafficking.
The time by the Ministry of National Security is
6 o'clock.
Done, triple grease cleaning power, each foam lasts longer. Done, triple grease cleaning power, you scrub Let's off and on. Triple Three's cleaning power.
Find it at a great price in your favorite store or supermarket. Formula with 3 grease cleaning agents versus another dishwashing soap of similar price.
Every Christmas, Auntie Yvonne gives her all to help those around her. Down to the last malt that she have. She always say, do good and good will find you. So I grabbed a couple cold malt out of my cooler and gave it to her. She smiled, we stood up and started helping, lifting and sharing what little we had. That is what the good you give does in the festive season. It makes others want to give and helps lift somebody else up.
DNG Malta, the good you give.
My name is Roland Gale. It is about 1 minute past 6, and you're tuned to Love 101 FM. You're listening to Family Time, brought to you by Family Life Ministries, FLM. And FLM provides counseling for people with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. Before we continue our discussion with Reverend Chisholm, let's get a word from Reverend Mike in this episode of WTF, Word to Flesh Moments with Reverend Mike.
The Bible book of Hebrews 11 defines and describes for us God's viewpoint on people of faith. Then along with the definition, it gives us practical examples of persons whose life of faith was of such that God created a whole of faith of these men and women. What I find remarkable about that whole of faith is that there are people listed there who you and I would find it easy to agree with God that they should make the list. For example, Abraham and others who by faith subdued kingdoms, stopped the mouths of lions. In other words, they seem to have a successful life of faith, one of great miracles and achievement. But the same whole of faith lists people like Samson and others who were mocked and imprisoned. They were stoned, they were tempted and slain with the sword. In other words, these people of God, by our definition, would not have been seen as successful the way we count success. Their lives of faith seem to have been a failure, but God counted them with his prominent people of faith. So while you may not consider yourself to be a faithful, inspiring, transformational leader like the Reverend Al Miller, or an incredible preacher like the Reverend Carl Johnson, or a psalmist like the Reverend Everton Thomas, or a prominent theophilosophical Christian apologist and Bible teacher like the Reverend Clinton Chisholm, I implore you to continue to live a life of faith where God has placed you. For in the final analysis, he decides who is named in his hall of faith. So stay faithful to him. I'm Reverend Mike from Fellowship Tabernacle, and we just had a WTF moment.
Thank you so much, Reverend Mike. You are encouraging with that, talking about faith. Let's welcome back our special guest, Reverend Clinton Chisholm. Rev, you are known as someone who doesn't shy away from strong and sometimes controversial views, especially on faith, on morality, and on society. You know, I was looking at one of the books that you wrote, sir, before we get back into the questions. And that book cracked me up, because when I looked at it, I realized that the title of the book is upside down, and you have a newspaper printed all over your image on the book cover. How did you come up with that, sir?
Well, I didn't. My daughter and her husband, she's married to a Bajan, the son of a Bajan friend of mine. So he was like my spiritual son before he became my son-in-law.
Wow.
So the two of them decided to do the cover design and showed it to me, and I said, well, let's run with that. I love it.
I love it too. It is so unique. I've never, maybe they exist, but I've never seen a book with the topic of the book upside down.
Good.
And I think that is brilliant. That is just brilliant. For our listeners, the name of the book is A Controversial Clergyman. And it says, provocative newspaper articles to foster critical thinking on social, societal, legal, church, and public speaking matters. And it was written by our guest this evening, Reverend Clinton Chisholm. Sir, how did your faith journey begin?
Well, while growing up on Barnett Lane, my parents, who I've never seen in church, sent us to up the road from where we lived at a Pilgrim Holiness Church pastored by Reverend Azariah Reynolds of blessed memory. We would have to go to Sunday school. We didn't have an option. But while we were chatting, liming, as we would say in those days, with a few friends of mine at a utility pole near to where I lived, at 45 Barnett Lane, it was like at about 6:37, and the sky was unusually red. And that prompted an uninformed discussion about the second coming. None of us had been to Sunday school in recent times, because this was when I was probably about like age 16. And so we were discussing, but we couldn't draw on anything biblical because none of us had been to Sunday school in a while. But interestingly, though the discussion was on the second coming, one thing lodged with me. If it was really an indication of the second coming, I was as lost as a goose.
Wow.
I went home in the privacy of my bedroom at 45. I surrendered my life to the Lord. And the Sunday morning, this was a Saturday night, the Sunday morning, I was trying to find a church where I could profess publicly my accepting of Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. My friends who were there too, they went to the Faith Temple Assemblies of God Church. They were also accepted Christ in the privacy of their homes. It was a strange phenomenon. I ended up finding a Presbyterian church pastored by a friend of mine, a musician as well, Frank Smalling, and they went to the Assemblies of God Church in Montego Bay Faith Temple. And so, having gone through the service that Sunday, they didn't have an opportunity for me to say anything that I had accepted Christ. So I joined my friends at the Faith Temple Church because they had a chance to profess faith publicly in church. And I joined them the following Sunday. I was there with them, and we were groomed for baptism. 1967 this was. So I accepted Christ at age 17 and worshipped and operated in the Faith Temple Assemblies of God Church, pastored by a missionary couple, William and Esther Ilniski. The wife played the organ, and the husband was a pastor.
Excellent. Wow. That is such an interesting account. And your friends went home the same night you went home and did the same thing you did to come
Right.
to realize
It was just strange, positively strange.
Absolutely strange.
We have accepted Christ in the privacy of our homes.
Do you remember how many of your friends did that?
I think there were 4 others.
Wow. So 5 of you in all.
5 of us in all. Right.
Oh, that's amazing. And that took place back in 1967. So
1967, right.
You've been on this journey now for 58 years?
Your math is better than mine.
Well, I'm hoping it's right. But that sounds like long.
Long while.
How has your faith changed, or how have you changed in the faith as you've grown older, as you've gotten married and so on?
Well, I've grown stronger because I believe in defending the Christian faith, and therefore all my studies were to improve my understanding of the Word of God, because I would get invitation from my Youth for Christ days to now. I would get the occasional call to preach at a church. So I wanted to prepare myself well. So I went in 68 I left the courts and went to Jamaica Theological Seminary to pursue a first degree in theology. Of course, all of my friends, including the judges and even the circuit court judge that came down eventually for the more serious crimes in the court, everybody thought I was going to study law. And I thought so myself too, until I realized that since I was proclaiming the word of God by preaching and teaching, that had to be my life's mission. So when I told them that I was not going to study law, I was going to study theology, they were surprised. Some were audibly disappointed and expressed their disappointment to me, but that's their view. I knew I had to do what God was leading me to do. And so I went to study theology, and thereafter I would continue my studies at Biola University, at the University of Sheffield in England, where I studied biblical languages, and went to John Wart Montgomery's Academy in Strasbourg, France, for 2 summers.
Excellent.
And the first summer, you would be prepared and you take a written exam. And if you want to candidate for the fellowship, the FCA, the Fellow in Christian Apologetics, you have to go the succeeding summer to be taught again and to be interviewed by all of the lecturers who could remain for that examination. So I did that and qualified with the FCA. I still remember John Wart Montgomery. He was a lawyer as well as a philosopher theologian. His comment after that says, he said to me, Clinton got one of the highest marks in the written exam and gave the best defense in the fellows defense in the history of the academy. That was quite a compliment.
It certainly was, sir. Wow. I think that's a very good compliment to have received. A question for you, kind of on that line. You have pursued quite a bit of academic learning and development. How does that balance out with family commitments and things that you also want to do in your personal development? How do all those things run together smoothly?
My family realized my obsession with learning and advanced learning like that. So they accommodated my interests in studies. And my 2 children, a son, Samuel, and a daughter, Antoinette, they realized that, okay, your dad is a bookworm. So just kind of live with it kind of a thing.
I understand. So they are understanding who you are, and they are allowing you to fill out that purpose, to live out that purpose.
That's right. That's right.
Excellent.
When there was a clash between, let's say, if I have a family commitment, let's say whatever I had promised the family to do, and we had a fixed appointment date on it, anything else that comes to clash with that would be second place, because I'm going to honor my commitment to my family. When all is said and done, family is the closest you have.
Oh, that is so true, sir. And I'm following on that. Maybe we should do it after the break, because we're going to come up on a break shortly. So go back to your children. What is the one thing you made sure to do in order to model your faith for them? What's the one thing that you made sure you did?
You want me to answer now?
Yes, answer that now, please. Yes.
I tried to be as best as I could, despite my failings, to be consistent in living out my Christian commitment and witness before them as a family.
Consistency.
Yeah.
We're going to go for the break with that consistency. We're heading for the final break. You're listening to Family Time on Love 101 FM, and it's produced by Family Life Ministries. Tell us about your memorable interaction with Reverend Chisholm, and you can send your comment to 9973125. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The National Housing Trust has an important peril insurance advisory. All NHT mortgagors who suffered damage for property from Hurricane Melissa may submit a peril insurance claim by Thursday, January 15, 2026, at your nearest NHT office Forms are available at NHT's offices or online at www.nht.gov.jm. For more information, visit their website, contact your nearest NHT office, or dial toll-free 888-CALL-NHT, which is 888-225-5648.
You can see the face, but not the heart. Those who want to do you wrong.
Bless up. This is Christopher Martin. Human trafficking is a crime. Let's unite to end human trafficking. Be wise, open your eyes, spot them, stop them, and report them.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
As we recover and rebuild after the hurricane, it's important to keep your medication safe and use them as prescribed. Here are some quick medication safety tips from the NHF. Use bottled or cooled boiled water when taking your meds. If they get wet or damaged, do not take them. Store them in a cool, dry space away from sunlight. If your medication needs refrigeration, talk to your pharmacist about the best way to keep it. NHF is here for health. NHF is here for you.
Welcome back. It is now 16 minutes past 6 and you're tuned to Love 101 FM. This is Family Time, brought to you by Family Life Ministries. And FLM provides counseling for people with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. Remember, you can tune into the program via the Love 101 FM Facebook page and the YouTube channel as well. We're going to go straight back to our discussion with our very special guest, Reverend Clinton Chisholm. And sir, before we went for the break, you spoke about trying to be consistent. And in your opinion, what does healthy Christian manhood look like today?
In my view, it must reflect, if it is a healthy Christian manhood, you behave as a man should in terms of his responsibilities, with a central thing in your heart of a commitment to Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. Now, a man can be a full man without being a Christian, but the healthy adjective for me would suggest more than just an ordinary behavior as a man, but have the Lord as the sovereign Lord of your life.
Oh, what a response. So hearing that, what advice would you give to young men today trying to balance a career, ambition, and their walk with God? What kind of advice do you give a young man like that?
Do the best you can in terms of preparing for your job and doing your job, while also maintaining a commitment to growth spiritually. So the basic thing of daily devotion, consulting senior people who are Christians for advice as you run into the struggles of life. My marriage failed, and Barry Davidson, founder of Family Life Ministries, counseled myself and my ex on the phone for quite a while. We were abroad then. And also my batchmate, Neil Walker, a lecturer himself, has a doctorate, he's now in Germany. He came and spent a weekend with us and guided us through the struggles that we were having as husband and wife.
Oh, that's important. That is important. You mentioned daily devotion. If I had to put you on the spot, sir, and ask you for a passage that you think would have resonated with you all through these years, what did we say, 58 years that you have committed to this faith walk, what biblical verse or what would you say has guided you?
What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his own soul? The reference escapes my old mind right now, but that was a very dominant thing. You achieve a lot in life, good, kudos, but if you lose your soul, then you have lost everything. So the double edge has been there in my life. A commitment to improving myself as a person, growing academically, growing in terms of where I work. And I really loved the law in my younger years, working in the court's office. But then the sovereign regard for the word of God and growing as a Christian, that added the other edge to my improvement as a young man.
Oh, I love that verse. I just took a quick look, and I think it is from Matthew chapter 16, verse 26.
Okay.
I think that's where it's from. Let me read it before we move on. It says here, "For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul?" That's truly a verse to guide us, to give us a good understanding. You are saying something, sir. Go ahead.
No, I was just acknowledging the text. Thanks for it, because I have not been able to read anything. I lost my sight in 1968. And can you imagine a bookworm who can't read anything?
Mercy. Wow.
But, I've tried the best I can. And there are devices that there's an Orcam eye device which can read the material softly for you. I've used that, not as consistently as I should, but it does help. But
absolutely,
I freedom to read whatever I want to at whatever time I feel like reading it with blind eyes.
Right.
And I hope for not myself, in terms of I've lost my sight, So generally, people would say, like at choir practice recently, I think something came up on the screen. We're preparing for a cantata, which a choir. I'm now a Methodist, by the way, a member of a Methodist church in Florida. The words would come up on the screen, and I'd say, "I'm not seeing anything." Of course, everybody burst out laughing. You're blind, you can't see anything. So
you make fun of yourself.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Sir, we have a voice note. I'm going to ask the studio if they can play it for us.
Sure.
Good evening. I am Deandra. It's a blessing to be listening, Reverend Clinton Chisholm, and it's an honor. I would have learned of Reverend Chisholm through school, Jamaica Theological Seminary, even though he did not teach me, during that period. But what I remember was particular interview. I don't remember if it was profile or what, but he was being interviewed, and they were talking about how he keeps up and to prevent burnout and all of these stuff. And as a young social worker, sometimes I believe that going beyond the call of duty, even if it's beyond office hours. And I remember he was talking about when it is his rest time, like phone, everything is turned off, because if it's an emergency, he's not the doctor, or he's not the police or the firefighter. So when it is his time to rest, is his time to rest. If it's an emergency, the persons would have to call any of those. But when it's his time to stay and rest, he values that time. And just listening to that interview as a young person, it actually allowed me to see the need for balancing. So hats off to Reverend Chisholm. He has touched many lives and continue to, based on his life of service to humanity and just being who he is as a reverend and representing God. Blessings.
Your thoughts on what Deandra said, sir?
I still maintain my family then, and I divorced in 2023, remarried 2025, and my current wife knows that I'm a lover of sleep. I don't apologize for loving sleep.
Oh, I love it. I'm going to steal that line. I don't apologize for loving sleep. I'm not going to steal it. I'm going to ask your permission to use it, sir.
No problem at all, sir.
Excellent. Sir, what are you doing now?
No, meaning
in your days
I'm
in life.
Retired. Because I retired from my last pastorate in Sligoville, 2018, and my former pastor called him and says, Clinton, don't just resign from the pastorate. Don't just resign from Sligoville. Tell JBU that you're retiring from the pastorate. So let them honor you for the work you have done in the pastorates you have been in charge of over the years. And I did exactly that. So I cool out now. I do what I feel like doing. If it is crucial, I will make a sacrifice for it. If it is not crucial, it is going to take second place to sleeping, watching TV, or eating.
You know, sir, how you speak is just so interesting to me. You've shared with us that you lost your sight. When did you lose your sight?
2018.
In 2018. You've shared with us that you lost your sight, and yet you say you sit down and watch TV.
Sorry. In fact, somebody asked me once a phone call, what are you doing now? I say, I'm watching TV. I mean, I'm listening to TV. Sorry.
I love it. That's just brilliant. Do you have any?
My left eye is completely blind.
Yes.
My right eye, what did the doctor call it? The optic nerve was damaged because of rising, fluctuating pressure in the eye. I can detect movement with the right eye and shapes, but it still can't help me to read anything. But the left eye is blind as a bat.
Wow. I hear you, sir. And we're going to have to wrap up soon. So I just want to ask you quickly, any regrets, anything that didn't go your way, the way you wanted it to go?
Well, I think after the one thing I have as a mild regret, and I'm saying mild regret deliberately, when I came back from England, the thing crossed my mind. No, you're not planning to go and study anywhere abroad again. You're going back to the pastorate, though not in the where you have a plurality of churches to be in charge of. I wrote my resignation letter in England that I'm not going back to the circuit. Then I was pastor on leave of a circuit of 3 churches, Filippo and 2 others. And I said, I'm going to resign. And I did. When I came back, I told him, I don't think it is the best thing to be in charge of a plurality of churches. I had a co-pastor at the time, my JTS batchmate. No, not my JTS, my UTC batchmate, Michael Friday. No, he's a doctor and he's living in the States now. And so he was in charge of the circuit while I was in England studying. But when I came back from England, thought crossed my mind, know that you're not going to go abroad to study anything else. You might consider returning to law. And I thought of it, and I actually applied to UWI to read for the LLB. And they said that I will be permitted, and because of my degrees and studies over the years and qualifications, they would allow me to do it in 2 years rather than the traditional 3 years. And so, but then I said, I have to spend 2 years at law school to qualify as a functioning lawyer. That was going to take away 2 years from my pastoral charge. And I said, no, that is too high a price. And so I just gave up the idea of studying law and becoming a lawyer while functioning as a clergyman.
Well functioning. I hear you, sir. You are such a high performer. Maybe at this point in time, you can begin to study law again. You ever thought of that?
It's too demanding now at my age, 75.
I hear you.
But I usually, I love to see cases where lawyers are functioning at their best in a movie or a regular thing with law enforcement people and cases. Yeah. Still love the law.
Still love the law. Oh, and I know you still love the Lord.
That's right. More.
Reverend Chisholm, I am afraid that our time is out, so I'm going to have to just say thank you so much for being with us, sir.
My joy and honor, my brother.
Bless you so much, sir. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.
And to our listeners, if you have questions of a personal nature or you're concerned about a friend or family member, call us. For more information on our services or for our counselors in Kingston and other parts of the island, you can call our head office, and you can also contact us by WhatsApp. Those WhatsApp numbers, 5798-690 and 2798-678. You can keep up to date by checking our Facebook pages, our YouTube channel, and of course, our Instagram. Before we leave you, I'm going to read again that verse that Reverend Chisholm shared with us. For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? That's from Matthew chapter 16, verse 26. Thank you so much, Reverend Chisholm, for being with us. Thanks to our show producer, Kathy Gale. Thanks to Derval Graham for piloting us through this hour. And of course, all of you who have been here with us during this conversation. Have a great week. I'm Roland Gale. Thanks for being with us.
You're tuned to Family Radio, broadcasting from Kingston, Jamaica, where Love 101 FM. The time is now 6:31, and therefore